Hey guys, sorry about the two-part video again. My bad. Real quick here. So we left off talking about the abortion question. So the abortion question was called Roe v. Wade. The cases in question were in the states of Texas and Georgia. The question of should abortion be legal. Now understand that prior to 1973, when Roe v. Wade comes up, there are 46 states in the U.S. that have anti-abortion laws. So the court came up with a lot of questions in terms of risk to a mother, their health risk, the issue of rape and impregnation, that kind of thing. And here's what the court came up with. Came up with a rule saying abortion is legal. In the first trimester, first 3 months, there's no limit. Second trimester, limits when there's risk to a mother. And the third trimester, a lot more risk, a lot more limits that way. It has been a big change, and there have been questions. Every single state's played with it a little bit, but a big question came with what women can do with their body, and women have a choice in terms of having kids, those kind of things. One things you do see too, a trend in the '60s, you end up seeing women marry a lot later in life. So we're talking marrying at age 27, 28, instead of 18, 19, 20. Maybe have a career first, that kind of thing. And you'll see divorce be used a lot more. Divorce is used now to get out of those really bad marriages, abusive marriages, those kind of things. And divorce actually rises now above 50% level, and that's a big part there. The last one we'll look at, we'll talk about the idea of equal rights amendment. Equal rights amendment was brought up at this time. There are a lot of victories, education, employment percentage, those kind of things we've talked about. Now the organization called for ERA, which is Equal Rights Amendment for everybody, and basically would do things like maternity leave and child care, more educational rights, equal job training. This would be an actual amendment to the Constitution, not just a law. There some people are very anti-ERA. So Phyllis Schlafly, she was a woman who was against all this change. She basically said that it was a woman's job to uphold the traditional roles, and it was destroying the American family. And some other people were afraid that a new amendment would change the laws that have already been won. And so they said they want this to happen. Now, looking at the map over here, when when you have an amendment to the Constitution, it has to go through Congress first, and after that, you need to get a certain number of states to approve it. Well, the magic number is 2/3 of 34 states. You can see about 30 states approve the Equal Rights Amendment. The states, hi Bowie, the states that you see in the South in yellow, sorry about that, chose not to ratify the amendment, and so it kind of left them stuck that way. Last one to look at is the homosexuality movement, gay rights movement that starts in the '60s. And understand in the '60s, homosexuality was considered a mental illness. It was actually in the APA, the American Psychiatric Association, considered homosexuality a mental illness, and people were actually treated, if you will, for homosexuality. There were camps and those kind of things that treated people. Many states had laws against homosexuality or that kind of stuff, or at least laws against homosexual action between same-sex partners. Hi. Um, there were a lot of clubs and bars that were open that were actually shut down. There were raids where people were being beaten and beaten up, those kind of things by police and other people. As part of it, you also have gay bashing. People said, the idea of homosexuality, politicians are gay bashing, like just basically saying it's wrong. You get these people out of our town, so on and so forth. And it was not a time where it was okay to be out. I mean, if you were outed as a homosexual this time, if somebody knew you're homosexual, you might lose your job, you might lose your whole career, you might have to move. People were, beaten up because of it. I mean, it was a big deal. You know what I mean? This happened, and especially in the military. The military is an automatic discharge. I mean, if you're in the military, you're automatically kicked out and discharged, and we'll talk about that a little later on too. There was some advancement. I mean, some of the first gay rights organizations, that the Gay Liberation Front gets going in the '60s. Some of the first organizations actually started in the 1920s and the 50s. The first big public, parades, these kind of things happened in the 1960s. By 1973, homosexuality is actually off the list of mental diseases, and you start seeing some acceptance in some areas by the '70s. One big example in the '70s was a guy named Harvey Milk. You see in the pictures here. He was the first ever openly gay elected official in California. He came out, he lived in San Francisco, and gained national attention when he ran for city council in San Francisco and won. And he won for the section that was, kind of the very homosexual populated area of San Francisco. He eventually, he helps pass some gay rights laws in San Francisco, and eventually actually was assassinated, not for his stance on homosexuality, but instead assassinated by another city official who had lost their job and wanted it back. That's it, guys. Sorry for the delay in that second part there. Thank you very much, and sorry for my dog popping in here and, disrupting the video. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.